Welcome to Top Advisor Marketing, where you will learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your practice. Brought to you by Top Advisor Podcasting, a done-for-you podcasting solution built just for trusted advisors. And now, your co-hosts of Top Advisor Marketing, Kirk Lowe and Matt Halloran.
Hello and welcome to another Top Advisor Marketing podcast. You know, you meet a lot of people when you're out and about. And the person that we're interviewing today is somebody that I'm really excited to have been referred to because his business experience, not just in financial services, but in life. I mean, he's pretty much covered every aspect of financial services as not only a professional, but also as a coach and a consultant. He has done some really super fun stuff that we're going to dive into today. Our guest is Kurt Ohlson. Kurt, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We start off the same way, which is telling us a little bit about your history. So how did you get to being who you are? And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing also?
So how I got to being who I am, went to college, obviously, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, go Illini. Then getting out of college, I actually got in the equipment leasing business, and I was teaching manufacturers how to sell equipment leasing. Like, for example, we had a doctor, and the doctor had a $10,000 machine. He can get $400, a test. The lease is $800, 2 tests, break even, right? So I'm selling these leasing programs to these. So I'm kind of wholesaling, and a company approaches me and they say, "Hey, how would you like to come work for us?" And we're doing public equipment leasing limited partnerships. I had no idea what that meant. So I went over there, and they're actually raising money. That was my first job as a wholesaler, which was back in the early 90s. And I worked with this company for about 5 years. Then I kind of went off on my own. I was doing some private placement, some IPO work. And then in 1997, I was hired by this little company called Golden American Life Insurance Company. And they had actually been purchased by Equitable of Iowa, which was another insurance company, which had just been bought from Bankers Trust. So I go in there. I've got a child who's like a year old. I've been on my own for about 5 years. My son, who's now 23, was a year old at the time. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I should go back and, find a job and, get something stable, for my kid. So it was funny. I sent out a fax. I talked to a recruiter. I sent out a fax to a guy, and he was going to be in town on Friday. He came into town. We had breakfast, turned into a 4-hour meeting. A week later, I was wholesaling variable annuities. Now, I had no idea what a variable annuity was. I called one of my buddies and I said, "Hey, what's a VA?" Because I'm thinking Veterans Administration. They gave me 7 states. They gave me 2 prospectuses. One was for a 7% death benefit. The other was paid a big high comp. And they said, here's a few reps, go get them. And so I basically started from scratch. At that time, Golden American Life Insurance Company was doing about $300 million a year in VA premium. In August of 1998, about a year after I got hired, maybe 13, 14 months, ING purchased us, the International Niederlander Group. Many of your listeners might remember the Orange account.
Oh, yeah.
It was the money market account, right? They were the first people to come up with 25 to 50 bips over what you were getting in, your bank's money market account. They were really the first online bank, and they did a lot of marketing. So that's how they might remember ING. Well, I was in the variable annuity job there, wholesaling, independent broker dealers only. And we took that company from $300 million in premium in 1998 to over $12 billion in premium 10 years later.
Holy crap.
I was one of the top wholesalers at ING. I covered Phoenix and San Diego for the independent broker dealer now, for the independent broker dealers. My claim to fame at ING was that I closed a $30 million variable annuity.
Wow. Holy crap. That's a heck of a VA, dude.
Right. And that was in January of 2009.
Oh,
so think about this. I'm working on this $30 million variable annuity. It's a pension plan. So they have individual annuitants, right? And I get an approval from the head actuary at ING about it in probably a year beforehand. And he says, "Yep, you can do it. No problem." So I'm sitting in Colorado, and I was skiing with a few wholesaler buddies of mine. And our next day was our national sales meeting. I get a call from one of the bigwigs at ING, and he goes, "Kurt, we got the 30 million today." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Isn't that great? That's exciting." A good VA wholesaler in those days did 100 million a year. And so, $30 million ticket is huge. He goes, we can't take the money. I go, what? He goes, we can't take the money. He goes, do you realize what just happened? And I go, yeah, I realize what happened. Why don't you explain it to me? Well, the treasury's under, the 10-year treasury is under 3% for the first time in, 50 years, except for once when Greenspan cut interest rates 14 times in 12 months. He said our hedging costs have gone up 300 to 400% because the VIX has gone from 20 to 80. And he said, because of all that, we have no more profitability in these contracts. And so we're going to have to write them down to zero.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh.
So I said, and I won't mention his name, but I said, I have an email from the head actuary at ING approving this deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's on the phone with like the CEO of the Americas, the head legal counsel of Americas. I mean, they're freaking out because, this money's there. And obviously with the fall of 2008, it was kind of a perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
ING I have it actually in writing that we have hedged away 99.95% of the risk.
Wow.
Well, that's 3 standard deviations, right? That's a 1 in 2,000 chance that something's going to go wrong. Well, guess what happened?
Yeah.
It went wrong.
Yeah, it went wrong. Yeah.
So I'm at dinner, ran up to my room, got the email, forwarded it to this guy. Hour later, get a call and said, we'll take it.
Oh.
So, thankfully that went through. That's kind of my, claim to fame in the variable annuity world.
Well, and so you've been working in this space. You've been working with financial services professionals, as we talked about before we started recording. This is really a marketing, podcast based. What have you seen in your worldly travels here, from the 7 states down to the 2 states and working in the variable annuity space? What have you seen that really works that advisors are doing that you're like, you know what, if I see an advisor doing this, I know that they're doing a good job?
Couple things. So I left ING in 2009. We started a mutual fund, raised a bunch of money for it, ran into a roadblock. Won't get into details, and we ended up selling it. So actually in May of 2011, I went full-time in the digital marketing, left the financial services world. I was doing digital marketing for about 5 years, and I kept looking back at the financial advisors, and because I know that world so well. I wholesaled for 20 plus years. Financial advisors suck at marketing. Bottom line, they're not good.
Yeah.
And the one piece of it, there's a couple things that they can do that would make them, that's cheap and it's affordable, and it would make them better. Number one, people don't, if you go into Google AdWords and you go financial advisor Phoenix, not a lot of people typing that in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the business comes from referrals. Okay. There is some guys that are actually doing some marketing now that's working, but let's just say most advisors in the past have all been working on referrals. So what is a referral? A referral is a transfer of trust, right? It's, I trust you. Let me transfer that trust bond to this other person. Good luck. If I type an advisor's name, or if I type an advisor's company name into the Google search bar, and they have one listing, or they have, what advisors need to do, what I believe they need to do is they need to own their page, right?
Oh.
So they need to own their page.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody types your name in, or somebody types your company's name in, you've got 3 or 4 of your pages to your website on there. You might have a Twitter account, a Facebook account, a LinkedIn listing, whatever it is. When they type, that gives you instant credibility. It's like, oh, okay, well, obviously this guy's there. So that's the one piece of advice I would give every advisor. It doesn't cost them much, but own your page.
Nice.
The second thing that I think I would give, the second part of the thing that I would talk to advisors about is, you're all about micro influencing, right? And I think that's fantastic. To kind of break off into a different field. We worked with a guy here in Anthem, Arizona. He was a real estate guy, and he wanted to, own Anthem, and which is a big place up just north of Phoenix here. And so what we had him do is we had him go out and we had him just kind of interview local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd go out, he'd interview a local business, he'd tag the person, he'd tag the company, he'd share it. And pretty soon he turned himself into a little mini celebrity in Anthem, mm-hmm. because, everyone was seeing him interview all these, local businesses. He was out there, he was reaching the community. He became a micro influencer in his backyard, mm-hmm. which is this just one area. The third thing I would say, and I learned this from Ron Carson. Many of your listeners might know who Ron Carson is. He's a huge rep out of Nebraska, who was with LPL. I believe he's with Cetera now. 25 years ago, I heard him speaking. And the one thing that stuck with me was this. He goes, my clients are one of 3 types of people. Either they're Nebraska Cornhuskers fans, they fly private planes, or they collect red wine. So I don't know how the private plane and red wine thing got put together, and he said, because those are my passions. That's what I'm into. And, so therefore my clients tend to gravitate me because we have commonality.
Yep.
And I think one of the biggest mistakes that any professional makes, whether you're a financial advisor, you're a mortgage broker, you're a real estate agent, whatever it might be, is you put out all this junk about, well, interest rates are going up, the bond market got up, the stocks have done that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
You put all this, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. Yep.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Put out stuff about your passions, put out stuff about who you are, expose yourself, be vulnerable, but be humble. But, that's what people are looking for. People are looking for somebody they can connect with.
Yep.
And putting out stock market stuff is not going to do it.
Yeah. And we know that it's broker-dealer approved, which is why it's super easy. I'm going to go back to a couple of things that you said there, Kurt. So first off, what you're talking about, interviewing other people and becoming a local celebrity, that's actually phase 2 of our micro-influencer program, right? I mean, that's already built in to the system that we have. We've got a 36-month system that advisors can use to truly do exactly what that real estate agent is, own their specific market. And I mean, we do everything to tell you the questions to ask and how to get people on your show and how to follow up and all that stuff. But then the second thing is, Ron Carson was actually my boss for many years. I've flown on those private jets, and I've also drank that wine with him before. And and it was unbelievable how true that statement is. I mean, that's still true today. And some of the things that he has done that we talk to advisors about, and that really a lot of good FMOs, coaches, marketing consultants talk about, is that passion prospecting. That's what he calls it, passion prospecting. And, it's amazing when you're sitting around and you're at a private event with Cessnas, right? For a good example for the private planes, who's going to show up? People who can freaking afford Cessnas, number one, and who want to talk about Cessnas. There's a gentleman that we worked with when I worked with Ron, who was a huge Corvette guy. And so he ended up creating the Corvette Lovers Association of the United States or something to that effect. And he used to hold events and he would bring his Corvettes and everybody would bring their Corvettes. They talk about Corvettes. And then, of course, it always came around, Kurt, to, hey, what do you do for a living? Well, you know what? And he had a great spiel. But I make it so that in retirement, you can either afford to buy more Corvettes or keep the ones you have. And everybody was like, ding, 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 ding. Right? I totally want to work with that dude. So those are 3 magnificent pieces of advice. Just to summarize that for everybody, you have to own your page, guys. Everybody has to own your page. The way that you do that is that first page on Google needs to have your name freaking everywhere. Number 2, really truly become that micro influencer. Do what you can in your community. Become a local celebrity. Most advisors have that personality because they're natural born salespeople. And then third, really focus on your passions. People like to do business with people they like, trust, and have things in common with. And if you can start with the things in common, the like and trust happens that much faster. Okay, well, what are you doing now, dude? So, I mean, we talked a little bit about this before we hit record. It sounds like you've helped lots of different sorts of people. I mean, are you squarely back in the advisor space now? Are you doing consulting? Help us with some of that, will you?
Number one, I am squarely back in the advisor space now. I haven't taken myself completely out of the digital marketing space.
Okay.
And, we had some good success there. And I still have a project that we're working on. It's actually a game that we've been working on. We soft launched it last year, tested it, and we're getting ready to do a big launch now. So I haven't taken myself completely out of it, but I am focused on the financial services business. And one of the things that has bothered me as I've been looking at it for the past 2 or 3 years and deciding, whether or not to jump back in, is what do you need a broker dealer for? I mean, really, what do you need a broker dealer for anymore?
Ouch.
The main reason that guys or gals stay with a broker dealer is what? It's their variable annuities. It's the thing, I sold, $1.5 billion of over a 10-year period. It's their variable annuities. Many, many reps would like to make that transition away from FINRA into their state up until they get about $100 million in their RIA. Right. And then, once they get past that, they're working with the SEC and insurance laws. It makes advertising a whole lot easier. Yeah. It makes everything a whole lot easier.
So I'm going to ask you about that. Hold on here, brother, because first off, I really agree with you. But there are some broker dealers that still do some good stuff. So I'm going to preface that right there. But the things that a lot of other people want broker dealers for is the protection aspect of it, right? From compliance and from oversight. Some of them like their marketing material. But what we're finding is when push comes to shove, it seems that some of the broker dealers just throw the advisor under the bus anyway. So now let's talk about the VA commissions or commissionable products that do have, let's say, a nice trail. And if you leave the BD, you're going to lose that trail. Do you guys have a solution for that?
That's what we're working on right now. Our broker our broker dealer will be open up hopefully this week. It's funny. We've been working on this opening this BD, and FINRA said us something about 45 days ago and said, could you request a 30-day extension? And so we said, sure. We requested a 30-day extension. They said something again. So we're really close. We're 99% there in a BD. And what we're going to be offering guys is a way to transition, guys and gals, is a way to transition out of the broker dealer world into the insurance RIA world. We'll even teach them how to become their own RIA if they want. So we've set up this platform to take them and transform them as we go through. We've also got a SaaS fintech product that we're working on that we think will be very helpful from a compliance point of view that we're going to start marketing here and pretty soon as well. So my focus is on helping people market. It's on helping people transition. If they and I'm not against broker dealers. I have a lot of friends in broker dealers. I've known a lot of people that run broker dealers. I have nothing against them. My question was though, what do you need them for? Why is it that you're staying with the broker dealer? Because a lot of the people in this business are late 50s, early 60s, right? We have a tendency to be older like me, and if you're looking to sell your book, in the future, it's a lot easier to sell the book without an attachment to a broker dealer. We'll hold your VAs. The interesting thing is that as an RIA, you cannot sell a variable annuity, right? So the initial suitability has to be done by the broker dealer. Yeah. You have to be a BD rep, but you can hold a VA once it's been sold. And we've got companies out there like Allianz and Lincoln and Jackson who have fee-based VAs, right? With 0% commission. But how many broker dealers have signed selling group agreements?
It's interesting because not a lot of them, and I think a lot of them are still stuck in the whole, concern when it comes to not just the suitability, but what truly is in the client's best interest, which is very frustrating because some of those products can actually be in the client's best interest. Okay. So here's the thing. You said something at the end there about Ron Carson, right? About, wanting to do business with people you like and have things in common with. I want everybody to get a chance to know you a little bit better. And before we do that, if you have not followed Kurt on LinkedIn, we're going to make sure that we have a link to his LinkedIn profile and also his websites and everything that you guys need to see, because probably by the time this podcast comes out, your BD will be open and it'll be a magnificent opportunity for people to find out a little bit more about that BD and connect with you and see some of your thought leadership. But you've been successful, you've been all over the place, you have really stayed in the same lane, but you've dipped your toes in lots of different waters. How do you keep yourself focused? I mean, so what is your centering principle? Do you have like a mantra or a saying that you have that when things get rough or you feel like you're a little bit off kilter that you use to get yourself back on track?
Well, the Serenity Prayer is one of them.
Yeah, sweet. Good.
And my father had a saying, which was refuse to be ordinary. He would talk about, there's people out there that make things happen. There's people out there that watch things happen. And there's people out there that wondered what the hell just happened. And so, you need to be out there, making things happen. And as I kind of transitioned back into the financial services business from the digital marketing world, kept my foot in it, but transitioned back. I want to focus on this again. One of the things that really was important, and some of the things that I'm bringing to these reps now is, at the end of the day, when you're working with a wholesaler, you're working with an FMO or whatever, it's really about service because it's a commoditized industry. I mean, you can find the same commissions, you can find the same products. It's really about service that makes the difference. And so, I tend to be focused on, just providing people with good service. And it's as simple as returning emails timely, returning phone calls timely, checking in with people once in a while. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. All right. Is there a go-to like book or anything? So when somebody says to you, Kurt, I look up to you, or I know that you read a lot or you watch a lot of videos. Is there like a go-to book or video that you find yourself handing out often?
Simon Sinek, Know Your Why.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Yeah, great.
I recommend that book, to people all the time. You know, I just like, you know, you have to, people don't care about the what or the how, it's the why. And, you know, as Simon Sinek likes to put it, so it's that golden circle. Like we were talking about earlier, that's what financial advisors and real estate people and mortgage people don't get. They think by posting a bunch of junk up there about their, you know, what's going on in their field gets them somewhere. No, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And by the way, what's in it for me? What's in it for your clients? You know, one of my favorite approaches, and this is kind of old school, is I'm a spin seller, right? The old spin selling. And I don't know if your advisors are familiar with it because it's been around for a while, but it's basically about the art of asking questions. So you start with situational questions, then you talk about problems questions, then you go into implications questions, and then finally there's the need payoff questions. And for me, too many people like to hear themselves talk. And if you're talking, you're not learning anything. If you're listening, you might just learn something.
Dude, that's why I love my job so much. Honestly, you know, people joke with me about that. Like, seriously, dude, what you interview people all day, and like, doesn't your voice, I get this a lot, doesn't your voice get tired? No, my voice doesn't get tired because most of the times I'm listening. I get to interview super cool people like you who have really cool ideas, great life experience, and stuff that I can learn from. Oh my God, if I'm talking too much, then I'm never going to have an opportunity to really pull those golden gems. You just gave us another one, freaking spin selling. That's awesome. Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah. Those are the great lines of questions in order to make it so, you know, they sell themselves. Holy crap. That was cool.
100%. You know, if I could recommend a book to any advisors out there, you know, look at spin selling. They've got workbooks. They've got a book out there. It's the art of asking questions in the right order to get you, like you just said, to get them to sell themselves.
Yeah.
We don't want to be, you know, we don't want to sell anybody. Let them sell themselves. The other thing that I say with, you know, that kind of is I've been working on lately, and I'm going to kind of let the cat out of the bag and give your listeners here some free advice, is if you're not doing long-term care, asset-based long-term care today, you're making a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Because 20 years ago, when they came out with long-term care insurance, you know, it was kind of like term insurance, right? Every year it renewed, and they priced it so poorly. They would be raising premiums 20, 30, 50%.
Yeah. And then it got so expensive and your clients were pissed. Yeah.
Right. Well, with asset-based long-term care, there's a whole new opportunities out there. And I'd love to talk to any of your listeners that would want to talk to me about that, because I've got a lot of ideas about the asset-based long-term care. And let me tell you why. Number one, the conversation back 20 years ago was, long-term care, you know, I don't need it. Who's ever going to need that? You know, whatever. And it was very hard to sell. And advisors didn't want to go down that path. Well, best interest of your client, right? We've got that coming. And how many people do you know? Do you know anybody that's been a caretaker personally?
Oh, God, yes.
Right. Everybody does.
Yeah.
So the conversation, I have 4 personal experiences with that. My wife, my mother, and my aunt all were caretakers for many, many years. And I saw the stress that it put on them. I saw how crazy it was. So the question isn't anymore, well, I don't want to talk about long-term care. The question, you know, the answer is, yeah, I'm real interested in learning about long-term care, because everybody has somebody, I shouldn't say everybody, but I would say the vast majority of people know somebody who's have a family member or a friend or an acquaintance, whatever, that has been forced into that caretaking position because they have not properly prepared for, you know, long-term care.
Yeah.
I see that as the next big thing coming down the pipe.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because people look at me really strangely when I talk about just insurance in general. I'm very, very passionate about insurance. So number one. Number two, when it comes to the guaranteed income space, you know, my generation, so I'm squarely, solidly in Generation X, which, by the way, nobody's marketing to. Nobody markets to me. Everybody complains about the boomers and complains about the millennials, but totally forget that there's this generation that's entering peak earning years, right? Nobody's got a damn pension anymore, right? They've seen the stock market poop itself a number of times, and they're really looking for something where they can plan their retirement, right? For that, you know, those go-go years especially. And so that's one of the things that really I'm very passionate about. In fact, I posted something on my personal LinkedIn account about GoFundMe. And you see that a lot with long-term care. Like, oh my God, my friend's aunt needs, or my friend needs money because his aunt doesn't have long-term care and he's taking care of his aunt. Can you help send him money? And I'm like, oh my God, we have insurance for that. Right. So dude, I'm 100% right there with you on that.
The interesting thing is, it's like, you ask the question, what are you going to do, or what asset are you going to use if, you end up having to go in a nursing home and it's $100,000 a year?
Yeah.
What are you going to use for it?
What are you going to use to generate $100,000 a year?
After that, what's the next asset?
That's right. Because that's going to spend that down. Yeah.
You're going to spend it all down. Yeah. Or are you going to be like 80% of the people that are in nursing homes right now and on Medicaid?
Yeah.
And just get rid of all your assets and, do all the kind of.
And you basically have to sign it over, right? And then that really loses the whole idea of inheritance. You can't pass on not only, money, but you can't, pass on family heirlooms because all of that stuff gets in there. Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and people want to stay in their home. So home health care. I mean, if you ask people, I'm sure 8 out of 10 of them would say, where do you want to spend, your when you get to that stage, it's like, well, I want to be at home.
That's right.
So yeah, I think, that's where. When I re-entered this field here within the last 6 months, and I was looking at, ways to set myself apart, kind of, what's my unique selling proposition? Number one, it's my experience in marketing.
Sure.
And like I said, I love what you guys do with the whole micro influencer thing. It's fantastic. I love it. But the other one was, kind of figuring out something that advisors aren't doing. And I would say, most advisors don't talk to their clients about long-term care. And guess what, guys and gals, if you don't do it, and the kids end up spending, all of their inheritance because mom and had to be in a nursing home for 5 years and it cost, $500,000. Who are they going to come and point their finger at?
That's absolutely right.
They're going to point them at you.
Yeah. So
at least get a negative consent form. And like I said, any advisors out there that would like to talk to me, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You can, find me on Facebook, whatever. And the proper spelling of my name, by the way, is KurtOhlson, if you're looking for me.
And we'll make sure that we have links to all of that stuff, Kurt, on the site. So, dude, thank you so much. This was super fun. You were a great guest, great information. You gave us a whole bunch of good golden nuggets. And I can't wait. We should probably try to get you back on the show after everything's up and running so that we can talk about some of the other cool things that you're working on.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day.
If you have not subscribed to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe now button below. And we are asking for guests. Now, we get a lot of guest requests, people who want to be on the show, and we listen to those very, very carefully, and we actually vet everybody. But we're also asking the question, if you could have me interview somebody who you've always wanted to hear from in a little bit different way, send me their name. All right. I would love to have an opportunity to vet them, have a couple of calls with them, and make sure that they'd be a good guest and they'd be providing great information to all of you. And if you know anybody who wants to have a great long-term care discussion, wants to learn about spin, wants to learn about how to get your business to be on page one, or really just bounce great marketing ideas off of somebody with a lot of experience, make sure that you connect with Kurt on LinkedIn, Facebook, and on his website. So for Kurt and everybody here at Top Advisor Marketing, we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
Are you ready to change the way you communicate with your clients? Are you tired of being the best kept secret in your area? Learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your business. Contact us today and see what the power of podcasting can do for your business. Click on the Contact Us link on our website at topadvisormarketing.com and set up a call to learn more. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook for more updates and information.
This was brought to you by Iris.xyz, a platform helping financial professionals become better in business and life through new media and new voices. Visit them and learn more at Iris.xyz.